Welcome back to Two Beers and a Mic, man. Today I have an absolute brother from back in the day, man, Pearson. But I actually had to Facebook to figure out what his first name was because I forgot. Military days, we just go by last names, man. Wow. Welcome to the show, brother. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It took forever to get you on, but he's still in the Army. He's still working with the VA, helping out our fellow veterans, man. So what you been up to, bro? What's new? What's new in your life right now?
I don't know where you want me to start, but a lot.
Positive stuff. You're still in, right?
Yeah, I'm still in. Yep.
Okay, so I got out 2015. So I mean, like, I always got along with you because you're just a funny fucking guy, right? Like from the get go, because you always have a fucking smile on your face. Oh yeah. That's what I always look for, right? Yeah. If you walk into an Army unit, whatever, at like 4 or 5 in the morning, you all see, everyone's mad or angry. You'll just see him in the corner.
Yeah, not taking it serious.
Not taking it serious.
Yeah. That's how they got to know me. I think I was always talking back to people,
I wouldn't say talking back, but in a very calm and respectful
way. But you know how it is, because you were known as kind of a smart ass too.
I was, but mine was more, I was just trying to get it, more control. I was trying to like get a reaction. Yeah. Yours was more monotone, smart, alecky, right? Oh, yeah. That's how I saw your stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, this fucking guy, man.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you got away with a lot?
I feel like I still get away with a lot.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I got away with a lot. But I was told, like when you talk to a sergeant, you have to be a parade dress. You just have to start the sentence with sergeant, end it with sergeant.
Oh, yeah.
So when I went to AIT, one of my guys told me, he was like, if you just stay within those parameters, you could probably say anything you want and get away with it.
Hey, Sergeant, fuck you.
Yeah. So, you can't they can't,
It's kind of true, yeah. Like, I'm a sergeant now, so, I mean...
Sorry.
I mean, I don't even hold people to that standard.
So, like,
just relax, man.
So how are you as a sergeant versus back in the day when you were starting out and you had sergeant?
I didn't even know what it was about when I first started, to be honest with you. I kind of joined the military, like we were talking earlier, because I was, like, kind of homeless and I had to go live with my mom. And I told myself when I was younger, actually, that I'd never join the military.
So how old were you when you told yourself you'd never join?
Early, 18, 19, when you started having to make life decisions.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And I was like, I'm going to go to college and then I'm going to graduate and be a freaking investment banker. That's just how it's going to be. Like, and a tax guru, thought I was going to be a millionaire.
So you had that stuff in mind at 17, 18? Like,
yeah, I had a good mentor, my uncle.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
So how old were you when you joined?
26.
That's still fairly young, man. I mean, so like, what drove you to, I guess, the Army out of all the other branches?
I had been
a right recruiter at the right time, or
no? I had a friend. It kind of came out of like a weird situation where I didn't have anywhere to go, and I was with my mom. Mm-hmm. And then my friend Matt, who I still know today, who might watch this podcast one day, who's a realtor. He had always been in the Army since I was in college, and he had always done better than me. Because like he had the VA loan and he had like deployments, and I didn't understand how he was able to do it. So he was kind of like the guy who took me to the recruiter's office, and then I just did it. I had a shift in mindset. As a matter of fact, the week before that, I was at a Sac State career fair, and I went to the Army booth, and there was this high-speed ass drill sergeant who was on crack.
The term high speed really pisses me off.
Yeah. he was so gung-ho and so high-speed, he was like, "You walking by this booth, man, you can't join the Army, you ain't good enough, what you doing here?" I was like, dude, I'm never gonna join with those losers, man. Look at that guy, And I was the loser walking around without a job. That guy probably has a full retirement, but so the week after that happened, Matt took me to the recruiter, and I met this guy, normal guy, and he kind of got me in the reserves.
So like, I mean, once you got in, how long after did you go to like basic training and AIT?
I waited like 6 months.
6 months?
I was still unsure because how like if you don't ship, you could pull back. Yeah, I waited about 6 months.
I didn't know that. Yeah, my recruiter sold me on the fact that he was so clean cut, crisp. He had a car, even though it was a government car because he was a recruiter. He sold me like
this nice ass car. Yeah.
He was like, yeah, you could have this one day. Today I think I was like, this guy was literally selling me to join so I could be a recruiter one day. Like, it worked out, man. But he was literally like, they were parked in our high school my junior year. I'm just looking around, everyone's talking about college. I wouldn't say I was dumb, I mean, like, I wasn't popular. I wasn't like a loser or anything. I was just one of those guys that just kind of filled a seat in the classroom and like filled in a picture in a yearbook. You know, like, I was that guy. And like I walked over, I was like, fuck, okay, sure, I'll join. You know, I'll pay for college, even though I'll never go, and like all this stuff. And then,
damn, I didn't know you joined out of high school.
Yeah, I joined. I joined 2 weeks after I turned 17.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because like you had to be 17 to join, and this guy was persistent. You know, whether or not that sold it or
so
not.
you signed, and then when you turned 17 and something, then you went to basic training?
No, so like I was already talking to this guy, the recruiter, and then like, you know, when I turned 17, I never forgot it. I was like, I'm gonna make this happen, because now I had told a lot of people that I was gonna do this. Like, this gotta happen.
Your new wife?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be in the army.
I'm gonna be in the army, man. Take care of everybody. So yeah, I joined and then I shipped. I think like end of junior year, because I was like, in that summer between junior and senior year, I was like, I'm not gonna like, you know, work at fast food. Let me just go do this. Maybe this will, you know, set me up for later.
That was a good move.
Yeah, I came back senior year. I remember everyone roasted me, man. They talked so much shit, and then towards the end of senior year, everyone's asking like, "Hey, how do you do that?" Yeah, I was like, "Oh, okay."
How do you do that? How do you have all that money?
Yeah, so I was like, "So what?"
I didn't even know you could do that and then still go to senior year.
I didn't either. I mean, like I asked, and they had it planned to where like you go when your school starts and you come back by the time your school's over. Wow. So I came back like 2 days after I think my school had been over. I was still gung-ho military, man.
Yeah.
I looked at people very differently, like the way they talk to teachers and all this stuff. Yeah. I was that guy for like, I was that gung-ho sergeant for like 2 weeks. Crazy. So how did your life change? Awesome. I mean, like you had reserves. So like, what was the impact when you came back? Because you probably were gone like 6 months total.
For basic?
Basic and your MP thing?
Yeah. I was 26 when I went in, so it just... I was gone for a little bit. My friends knew I was gone. But I had already been to college, and I had already actually worked at a huge accounting firm and tried that out. And that was my major, and I was studying for the CPA and all that stuff. So I had already had like this full civilian experience and sat for some exams, passed a couple, but not the full thing. And then they fired me. Well, not fired me. They laid me off. That was when the crisis happened, the financial crisis. So then I got laid off, and then that's when I went in, and I had a totally different experience, the military. But then I came back and just did reserves. So people knew I was different, because now I was this accounting guy, but then I also had this reserve.
Well, here's how I saw you, right? I didn't know that, right? So like usually when the young guns come in, you know, they're usually around 2021. Mm-hmm. This is their first big thing.
Right, yeah.
You had lived a life. You already went to college. You had like a career type of job.
Yeah, and I resented it. And I thought everybody was, because I had that perspective, since I had that, I thought that this military thing was below me.
Really?
I did. I thought that. And I was like, these are just kids and I'm more experienced. Yeah. And it did help me for a while. It promoted me and gave me team leader roles and things, but I didn't know much.
That's crazy. You know, like thinking back now, I always wish that I had waited. Like I wish I had joined like at 24, 25. Yeah. Because I had way too much, way too soon.
Yeah, you did.
Because I didn't know what to do with it.
And that's kind of why you wanted to go back in at some point a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted to go back in last year because I was like, you know, there's so much stuff that I felt like I didn't get to do because like a lot of immaturity was still there. Still, yeah.
It's a fucking podcast, man.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's just I wish I had that. So I mean, it's cool. I mean, you're still in. So what are you going on? Like 10 years now?
Yeah, I think 11 years. I'm not sure. I'm debating right now if my contract's up next year. I'm overweight. I don't really know if, you know, I got a lot of personal stress.
Yeah.
You know, and I got a lot of other great things that are happening for me. And like I was telling you earlier a little bit, you know, like whoever's out there watching this might get something out of this, so you should listen.
That's the idea. I hope you do.
Yeah. And hit that like button. I hate when you watch videos and they pull. Don't do that to your video. Oh, subscribe to this.
I don't know how to do it.
Don't figure it out. Yeah, I want to do my 20 years and get that letter because I know that a lot of people that do the 20 years, they get retirement and all that stuff, but I'm in the reserve, so I don't qualify for that full retirement. Yeah. So if you're out there, join when you're young, do the 20 years, get the full retirement, then file for disability. So you got 2 retirements, and your 3rd retirement's already secure because you pay Social Security. So do that first. And I didn't
active duty though, right?
Active duty. I wouldn't do. Looking back and knowing what I know now, I probably wouldn't do the reserves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd be cut out for the active duty life?
No, that's the other problem.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
But if you would have joined at a younger age,
if I would have joined right out of high school, like junior when you did, I think I would have been able to do it. Right. If I would have had a coach or somebody tell me, look, this is what's going to happen after you do your 20 years, and all that other stuff's always going to be there.
You know, I always hated the fact that I did reserves too, because I was like, I'd be home, but because like I was such a homebody, like family oriented.
Yeah.
That was my cell. Like, oh, I just go do this weekend thing, I'd still be home.
Right.
But I was like, I grew up kind of like strict parents. So the idea of being at the right place at the right time, I had that growing up. So looking back, I was like, I could have done this for sure, because I didn't want to get in trouble, and I had a personality decent enough where I'd have my own circle for comfort. But I remember first day I walked into boot camp, like I walked in the hallway to my room, and some guy walked in this way, he just whispered in my ear, goes, "Welcome to hell." What the hell?
Yeah.
But
there's always people who are going to check your decision making. That's but if I would have had a good mentor, somebody to tell me, when you're 18, by the time you're 38, you could just have 3 retirements, and then you can do anything you want, and then you get a free home. Like, there's all kinds of things that people don't realize.
Yeah, there's a lot of good benefits, man. I'm like grateful to Sergeant Infante if for some reason you're watching this. Well, I don't know why you're watching this, but hey, thank you for being at the right booth at the right time. Like it really changed the direction of my life, because I didn't know what the hell I was going to do after high school, man. Everyone's talking about these 4-year colleges and all that stuff. Yeah. And thank God I did the military, man, because it definitely gave me more than I gave to it. I think the biggest thing that gave me is like guys like you and like, a lot of seasoned, I guess, veterans who had actually been out and done stuff and lived life. They just came back and dropped a lot of wisdom. Oh, yeah. I just listened. I think that's the best thing I got out of it.
Yeah, and that's a great skill, like, to be able to listen and understand and learn from other people's perspective. Yeah. Like, that's kind of, I struggle with that still, but I'm starting to realize the more that you could do that. And
you have a lot of this where you sometimes are able to kind of see through the person. Mm-hmm. Do you feel, because you're pretty entrepreneur type of mindset, you can read people pretty well, right? Like,
yeah, I actually can't, really. I'm not very good at that.
No? Because there were only certain people that you really listened to, and others you're just like, oh, he's an idiot.
Oh, I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, but that's much different than what I thought you meant by seeing through somebody. I could typically judge somebody, which isn't really that good when you're judging somebody, but I could judge a guy who's just not done much versus somebody who has something that I could absorb. Yeah. And I guess I am good at that, but that's kind of discriminatory in its nature. But one thing that what's really good, if I was to comment on this, is like if you could treat everybody kind of the same. Yeah. And then because everybody's got something to teach you. Yeah. But then if you really, the ones that you really love, or the ones that you could really identify with, be able to see like where they're coming from and kind of see through them as a person, because there's so much more that you could know about. Because people will help you throughout your whole life, and you just don't realize that when you meet somebody.
You don't really know, man.
Yeah, like I would have never known that I'd be here today with you doing this when I met you, because I was like, that guy's a fucking idiot.
Thanks, man.
Well, I
mean, I was 17, man. I didn't really know. I was like, a wet noodle just out for a good time, bro.
Well, you were young. It was obvious you wanted to be having a good time. You were kind of disrespectful to some people. And, like, I just felt like you weren't very serious.
Everybody had a blast around me, okay?
Yeah, everybody was laughing. Yeah. Absolutely. But those were some of the people who kind of didn't take it serious. And I was like, I can only do that I'm the type of person that I could do that for 2 hours, but after that I get burnt out.
Brother, I spent like 4 years with you, man.
I'm burnt for 2 hours every weekend,
Yeah. No, it's crazy, man. The cast of characters I think, like, I saw, there were definitely a lot of people that were a lot, bigger. And you just kind of sit and you just kind of listen to what the hell they have to say. It was the thing, right? Like, they didn't really help you right then and there, but years later, I remember. And I remember, like, Sergeant Bauer, Sergeant McCoy, like, these guys, they still, like, a lot of stuff they used to say, like, it's still stuck in the back of my head. But, so what, I mean, like,
the crazy part about it is, like, those two that you just mentioned, like, so much has happened since, like, you've been out. So even they keep growing. Everybody keeps growing. Yeah, but that reference of time that me and you spent together is kind of, there was a lot of great people, but even they've grown. Yeah. And
yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for Facebook because I still have most of the guys on there. It's really nice to see everyone has families.
Yeah, it is cool.
Gitmo, obviously, a lot of you guys make families out there.
yeah. I even know those kids nowadays. They're still running around.
How was that? I mean, you're not gung ho. You weren't gung ho military, but like when going over to Guantanamo came about, how was that experience for you? Were you excited?
For me, I had mixed feelings about it because I was once again battling with this idea of I had a new accounting career at a better firm with more opportunity.
Really?
Yeah, and there was this military conflicting me, pulling me down, keeping me away from the CPA thing, and I resented the military for it.
I had that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, this reserve thing's annoying because they say it's part-time, but now I gotta go on this fucking deployment. Yeah. And I fucking hated every minute of it. And luckily I had a good girlfriend at the time, later became my wife. And I screwed that up. So if she's listening out there, I know I got a kid, but hey, come on back, baby.
Keep it positive for the judges, baby.
Absolutely. She'd be like, no, you're fat now.
So the military just kept getting in the way, right?
It kept getting in the way. Yeah.
That was my thing because whatever I had on the side at that time was the biggest thing that happened to me.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like, I couldn't see the bigger picture of the army.
Yeah.
I feel like
and you don't have the life experience because you don't know.
I didn't know. Yeah. So if I got like a nice job that paid $13 an hour, I was like,
you're like, this is way better.
This is it. Like I'm done.
I was in the same boat. But what I learned from that deployment was, I liked it.
Yeah.
And I got promoted, and I made these really good friends, and I was good at it.
Yeah.
If I was dedicated to it, I was good at it. And there were shitty days, man, where there was terrorists throwing food and shit at you and telling you that, they like Michael Jackson and saying he in front of you and grabbing themselves, like crazy shit,
Yeah.
But yeah, I got back and I went back to that accounting job, and the funny part was I was like, finally I'm back to my accounting job. But then when I sat there and I did my accounting job, I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I'd rather be on another deployment fucking making that easy money.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I was like, wait, I don't understand this. At first I resented the military, now I resent my CPA job. Fuck it, I'm quitting this shit. So I told the HR lady, I said, yeah, I'm gonna stay on your dime until you basically send me home. Basically a way of saying you need to let me go so I can collect unemployment, and then I'm gonna go on go on a deployment, and that's what I did.
So did you go on another one? Or?
I went on another one.
What?
Different unit.
Okay.
No, I went with 422 at that time.
Wow.
Yeah, and then
what is that called? It's called double dipping, right? Is that a term?
Double dip?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't double dip. I stopped collecting and then I went on deployment. Yeah.
That's insane. I did not think you would be. So what do you think it was about being, gone for that long versus just, weekends?
What I think it was a realization that the Army wasn't really that bad.
Yeah?
Yeah. And as long as you dedicated to it, that's why I say, like, if you're young out there and you're 18 or 19, all you know is what you know.
Yeah.
You don't really know, but man, they take care of you. All the benefits are there, and it's the only thing that really exists nowadays that people can get something that's legit.
And it's like it's almost guaranteed, right?
Yeah, as long as you don't screw up.
Exactly. Did you think while you were out there, you could maybe bump heads like you would, at a drill, versus if you're out there, like, okay, if I'm going to try to make this an easy year or whatever, let me just get along and just be the best that I could, make this, year go by faster. Do you think it was that?
A lot of that.
Yeah?
Yeah, but a lot of it was more than that, like camaraderie, basketball teams.
Sorry, just say that word again, man. You're white, don't make people camaraderie.
Camaraderie. Maybe I'm not white.
Look at Chad over here, man. Camaraderie. Yeah, that was one of my favorite things too.
Yeah.
Camaraderie. Yeah.
The other thing too is you thought you knew people based on how you judged them or interacted them at drill, but man, I made and still communicate with these people we're friends, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
it's very hard to make, it's very easy to make friends with people in uniform. If you're wearing the same, colors, I feel like I found it very, very, because in that moment, you're both going through the same shit. Whatever it's, on the outside, it's whatever. When you put on those colors, if you're pissed off, chances are the guy next to you is pissed off. So let's be pissed off together.
And even if you don't realize it, and as bad as you fight it, what's really interesting is that even if you go into that situation going, and a lot of people do this, you're wearing the same uniform, but I'll never talk to you again, I have no interest.
Yeah.
You can't help it. No matter what, those people end up showing up, and you have that bond with them, whether you realize it or not.
I don't think there's anyone right now that I served with, like, that I'm not in touch with. Even the people that I had the most issues with them, I communicate with. It's just, even like the sergeants, which I thought were like dicks, they're like, they're glorious now to me, I have them on Facebook, I like all their family pictures and everything, it's like really cool, because you see the other side.
Yeah.
So what are all the
They're just humans too.
Yeah, man. I just, I realize, they're a certain way because they went through certain things, and maybe they're still going through certain things at the moment.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things, outside of the military that you feel like, you've gotten out?
Well, it was funny, like I was telling you this earlier, it was like, in life kind of works this way sometimes too, I think, is whatever you tell yourself or you're short-sighted about or you don't really understand, things like when I said, I'll never join the military.
Yeah.
Well, now if you look at my life, like I was telling you earlier, I married my ex-wife and she was all about military. Okay, well, I didn't see that coming when I was 25. And then I ended up getting a job that hired me. My CPA job only hired me because I was a veteran, and they needed to hire more veterans. Then, years later, I ended up getting a government job for the Bureau of Reclamation, but they only hired me because they needed somebody who was actively serving in the service.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that, my reserve career helped me get that job. Then I quit there, started a company called Battleraddle, and that was all veteran apparel.
Yeah.
So it was like, I never thought I'd be doing veteran apparel, and then after that it led into doing, I got plugged into a team doing mortgages for veterans. And they only hired me because I know a bunch of veterans.
That's insane, man. Like, hey, it's the same thing for me, for military, man. I tell, some of my guys who are even younger, like, it might not pay off right then and there.
Exactly.
If you were reserves at $180, check, it doesn't mean much.
It doesn't mean much.
But it's a hell of a stepping stone for the next thing, man.
If people don't really listen to this, but anything else, that what you just said is, I think, really important, because it's not the money. They say that a lot of times.
That's usually the selling point too.
Yeah.
To like, you'll make this much, especially if you're young.
Yeah, they sell you on that. But well, in my case, it wasn't that, because I haven't really made my money, and I actually don't even make that much money.
Yeah.
And it was the money that ended up benefiting me, like the relationships or where it led, or
I remember when I joined, man, it was like, I was 17 within the community. It was like, either people were excited or they just didn't understand and just completely trashed it. I remember my dad called back home to tell my grandma, and they freaked out. Because at that time, there was kind of like a civil
stereotype
going on. And so, like, the idea of military is people walking around gun shooting, right?
Oh, shit.
So they were like, oh my God, he's going to die. I was like, no, I'm not going to die. And people here are like, oh, yeah. I know this person who went in the military, he got shot and he died. That'd be the first respond to my parents saying my son's joining the military. Like, what the hell?
They'd be freaking out.
Yeah. So, I mean, we covered military, good times, man. I mean, just a lot of your monotone comments back in the day, and just a lot of your...
there were laughs forever. You never...
Subtle movements, man. It's really cool to, like, just think back. I know I've already mentioned this to him, but I'll just tell this little story. This is where I figured out Pearson is my type of guy, right? So usually, we have formations where everyone in the unit is standing out there. You listen to, top brass give instructions, directions, for the rest of the day, rest of the week, how things are going to go. So once the big dog is done, the platoon sergeants, they talk to their own people and be like, hey, this is what we need. If we need a couple volunteers, we need people volunteer. So that wasn't the case that day, right? So they all, said, go enjoy your day. And then, the platoon sergeants, they go talk to top brass, commander. So I guess the commander gave some instructions to sergeant number 2 and was like, hey, go get a couple volunteers we need. So weeks before, there was an issue where when someone would ask for a volunteer, no one would raise their hand except for this one guy, Tawaldi, right? Great guy. So the sergeant was like, no, fucking Tawaldi, put your hand down, you always volunteer. So, everyone got smoke push-ups for days, and then from then on, everyone was like, me, pick me. So this day, that sergeant is asking, hey, we need volunteers. Everyone's going, me, and this guy is just standing there looking fine, because he's like, somebody will volunteer.
Somebody raise their fucking hand around this moment.
I was just looking at him, I'm like, this is my type of guy right here.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck how many push-ups I gotta do. I ain't fucking doing whatever you're about to ask. Because you know it's.
And you had your M16 or whatever, so it's applying on the ground, you're leaning up against it. You're just
yeah, you don't put the barrel in the dirt, and my shit's fucking shoved in the dirt.
He was like, what are you, E5 now, E6?
Yeah, E5, yeah.
Young days.
Yeah.
But it was
I'm still like that. I still get away with that shit.
But I feel like if you're somewhat squared away, you get your stuff done. Your guys are taking. Yeah,
eventually, the thing is, everybody gets squared away.
Yeah. So, I know we covered military stuff. I really wanted to touch base on Battleraddle, how it started, and the work and effort you put into it. So, how did you, come across that?
I was on deployment, and I saw these. I was selling things.
First one?
Second one.
And
I was in my little Cusco thing, and they eBay sold these mugs that were in the shape of a bullet. These beer mugs, and I thought that was just so cool. So I put an American flag on it and started driving around town, putting it on Facebook Shop or whatever, and people started buying them, and then they started saying, well, do you have any t-shirts? And I go, no, I don't have any t-shirts, man. I don't know how to make t-shirts. Come on, dude, buy the fucking mug. And one of those lessons where it was like, damn, maybe I should make some fucking t-shirts. So I started contracted with this company and started a Shopify store, and that's how it happened, and just started selling t-shirts.
So that's all. What was kind of the, you getting your licensing and all that stuff? What was the whole? How do you find?
It's just an LLC, and then made a name, and then trademarked the name, and then nobody had Battleraddle.
How'd you come up with the name?
I was sitting in my thing, and I was looking at that mug, and I was like, it was in the shape of a dildo, and I just was looking at this thing, fuck, that's a beautiful fucking mug. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you think about something else, bro? Okay. There's a beautiful fucking mug. It had a nice shiny tip, right? You can screw the tip off. And then, it was just what would be a cool ass name where you could go to a website and buy everything that was military, but redesigned in consumable shit. And I was like, well, we call Battleraddle our stuff, so why don't we just call it that? And I was like, it's got to be trademarked. So I went and I was like, what the fuck, am I on the right website? And then it wasn't trademarked.
Battle dildo anywhere.
yeah
Dildo rattle.
Yeah, dildo rattle was taken. And I was like, yes, that's my
I can't believe no one thought of battle, even the military, right?
Yeah, they should have trademarked.
They come up with the crappiest names for everything.
Yeah.
The fact that they don't actually just call it Battleraddle, it's insane.
Yeah, I spelled it a little wrong, but it kind of rhymed better, because rattle, the don't tread on me, and then I incorporated it with that don't tread on me snake, so rattle snake, but with a battle.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd spell it. It's not A-R-D-D, it's A-R-T-T-L-E, right?
Yeah, traditionally it's T-T-L-E, and then I did D-D-L-E.
Okay.
But it worked.
I like it, man. I haven't bought any of it yet, but I will.
Yeah.
But
it's fucking good.
It's good. It's insane, man.
Wait, you didn't buy any Battleraddle, and you didn't refi with me?
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't. Right on, bro. Thank you.
But this is the start. This is the start.
Okay, cool.
So, what was the process? You got your t-shirts. I know you have your shop online. You have a website too, which I'll post and stuff. But what was the process to get your name out there?
Dude, that was interesting.
Because you had experience boots to the ground, right?
Boots to the ground, dude. I had just gotten back from deployment, gung-ho, talking to everybody I knew, telling them, just buy the mug and I'll send you a free t-shirt. And I did. Yeah. And then they ended up buying again, and they liked it. And then I did the state fairs two years in a row, and that really put us on the map, the state fairs. And yeah, I got robbed one time. I did the second state fair. This guy named Rodney Ingberson, who owned a company called Blackout Apparel.
Motherfucker robbed a veteran, bro?
Robbed a fucking veteran, dude. Robert Ingberson out of Grass Valley. If anybody wants his address, I'll give it to you. I got a lien on your property, motherfucker. So go ahead and sell that shit.
Damn, he's a white dude?
Big fat white motherfucker.
Man,
fuck them white dudes.
What a big
fucking motherfucker.
What a wow.
Yeah, and he's got a daughter named Veronica. And
fuck America, bro. Fuck it.
Exactly. But hey, I'm not bitter about that.
Yeah, no, totally not.
Anyway, he screwed me, still made it, still went through it, and then now I got a custody case with a crazy mom, and she's just really hitting me hard, and so Battleraddle took a dip, but it's just one of them dips where you gotta see, here's another thing, you guys should listen to this. In all the dips, there's such a lesson. Joining the military, gonna come out of it. Somebody rips you off, well, that was a setup for more state fairs and more people buying online, right? Have a child, and the woman leaves you when the baby's a month old, files for child support, moves back in with their parents. That doesn't sound right. Just put me in a dip, and then I find a team that takes me under. Now I'm closing. Now I'm closing deals. All that money's coming back. So in those dips, they really put you in a mindset of,
you gotta come out of
it. How the hell am I gonna do this? And like these things, as long as you could handle that right and do the right thing and pass that test and have that good attitude and still do the right thing. A good example of that is, like, I never got mad at you for not buying a t-shirt, and I'm happy that you got a 2-point-something%, right? I'm still happy, and I'm still happy to be here, because I'll slap your hand and give you a hug when I leave and tell you I can't wait to see you again, man. But it's those little things and those little tests that you have to pass, and that way Alan goes, well, you know what? At the bottom of Mike's heart, that guy's a cool guy. He's a good guy.
I never thought you were a bad guy. That's why you were sitting in my house right now.
Yeah. But like, I'm just trying to give people an example of like.
But I mean, like, that level of stress sometimes is necessary for you to grow, right?
Exactly.
I was watching the Steve Harvey thing, and he was talking about stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, you know Steve Harvey?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's like, stress is necessary. Stress is necessary. He gave this great example. He goes, it doesn't make sense that you drop a seed in a hole, put dirt on it, put manure and fertilizer and stuff on it, you know, and then you expect it to like grow and blossom into this tree. Mm-hmm. So he was like, look at yourself as a seed. Mm-hmm. So if someone talks shit, you know, that's fertilizer. You know, baby mama leaves, you know, that's water, and stuff like that. That's you know, that's
yeah, it's really it's really a good example. Most of the best things in life are like that seed with all the pressure on it, because it's just. You learn way more when you're forced to perform than when you go back home and live with your parents and never start your own life. Like, it's really, you're doing a disservice to yourself.
And then you kind of, at that point, you kind of restarted everything, right?
Yeah, I'm in that process right now.
So this is like your third innings right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first it was the military dip, came out of that. Then it was my accounting career, I'm in a dip. Now I'm in the mortgage, and now I'm fighting to keep Battleraddle alive. And this baby mama's taking me for everything that I can, trying to file, you know, restraining orders and things. Had to hire a lawyer. Like, these are just like things that, and I may sound ignorant, because some of these people might be watching going, that guy's not going through anything compared to my situation, and that could be true.
Or maybe they're like, man, this guy's a fucking mess.
Yeah, could be, yeah.
But I mean, like, so you have, you know, at this stage of your life, I always think, you know, experiences from, you know, previously that you didn't even pay attention to usually help your situation now. Like, you feel like you're, you know, in that place, other than the military being this great help. Are there instances of your life the last 10, 15 years that you feel like is helping you right now?
Oh, yeah. Everything, not making that same mistake twice.
Yeah?
Yeah. And the people that are in my life to help me. They aren't the same as the people who did me wrong, so.
It just kind of, you know, you just kind of funnel people out, right?
Yeah, you have to. Some people aren't there for you. Some people will go out of their way to do wrong to you.
Yeah.
And you gotta really know when those come into existence. You gotta identify those, and you'll get better at it the more dips you take. But those dips are required, I think.
What is your plan for Battleraddle and you know, your loan thing right now? Like in the next 6 months to a year?
Well, just make as much cash as I possibly can with my day job and doing these deals, and reinvesting that capital to fulfill all my back orders into Battleraddle, and get a manufacturer for Battleraddle, because one of the problems right now is I have to make the physical t-shirt and pay the labor to do that, and that's really tough to be making a product from start to finish. So I'm going to go back to where I originally was, with contracting with somebody who has the facility and pays the labor. My cost per t-shirt goes up, but they'll be handling everything and just basically drop shipping that t-shirt with the branding on it and everything. And so that'll help me with that. That way I could put Battleraddle on autopilot, and I need to find somebody to run it. And then I'm really there's more money in mortgage than in any other industry that I've found, unless you're like some super intelligent entrepreneur and can start the next Uber and go IPO or something like, or CCIV, the new electronic vehicle.
So, I mean, just the name Battleraddle, has it ever thought that maybe there might be a company that may be looking for the name?
Yeah, and I'd be willing to see if they'd buy it,
I mean, just I'm sitting here talking to you, like, the Army might want to buy this name eventually. Like, it's insane that it's not on the little containers and canisters and stuff.
I know.
What is it?
Maybe they buy it, yeah, I don't know.
What is it called? FRG, CRM? What the hell what is equipment called right now where you take it and they, like, check to see if there's water in the canisters, whatever? I don't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah.
But so what are you doing with the mortgage stuff right now, man? You just helping out veterans?
Yeah, I got plugged into a team to do mortgages, and they hired me only because I know so many veterans through being in the service, helping them out with their taxes, the t-shirts from Battleraddle, and then also I just know a lot of veterans, just by my nature.
A lot of veterans that are maybe going, through some things, just maybe in your situation,
Yeah, or maybe they've never had a good job before, or maybe they got hurt and they collect their disability and they're exempt from the funding fee and they need to use their VA loan. Like, those people all day long, they're entitled to their benefits. And
do you feel like all those dips that you've had makes you kind of a better at what you do right now, helping these veterans?
Yeah,
because maybe you can kind of.
Yeah, it does, because I've used the benefit myself. I've filed for disability myself. I've used the VA loan myself. I've used an FHA loan myself. I've used the conventional. I've been deployed. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be ripped off using the VA loan. Like, I was a disabled veteran when I used my VA loan, and the company that did my refi didn't even put me exempt and charged me the funding fee, which was $7,500. And that check ended up coming back to me through God's grace in the next 2 years through an audit. Right. And I didn't even know.
Wow.
Yeah, another great story that I have where I'm helping veterans is that my grandfather served in the Air Force, and he was never service connected for a disability, and he served 8 years, and he had a VA home loan certificate. And when he died, it was sitting in his safe, the VA home loan certificate sitting in his safe, dated 1968, and my poor grandma sitting right here and asking me, Michael, how am I going to get into a home loan? And I go, well, I don't know, Grandma. I'm not licensed to do home loans. Like, I sell T-shirts. What do you mean? And she's like, we've been renting this spot for 40 years, a duplex for 40 years. And I go, well, why didn't you use this certificate? This is a free home, and Grandpa's dead now. And she goes, oh, I don't know. We just never did.
Wow.
What the So anybody out there that's listening who's been renting a place and they have this certificate, use it while that person's still alive. Right? Or the way to transfer that down is you get service connected for that disability, and if that's the reason that veteran died, then he couldn't hear anything and he couldn't see anything, and he worked as an aircraft mechanic at Mather. So he could have got service connected easy, is the bottom line. And he could have, since he would have been service connected and he died he might not have been able to pass it to her, but at least he would have had a better chance. But he could have passed it to my grandma, and my grandma could have had a free home.
Wow.
Yeah. Instead, what happened is I had to move them into my house, being the good guy that I am, letting them save money for 6, 7, 8 months, which could have been totally avoidable by the VA loan. And then I said, okay, it's time to buy, guys. And they had to have a down payment. They had to get a higher interest rate. They had to buy they found like the only home in Sacramento that was a mobile home but classified as modular to get a loan on the home. Because when you buy mobile, it's a whole different thing. So, luckily that I was there to save them and point them in the right direction. But man, that would have been a lot easier. So people just don't know.
You can't use it. Like the spouse can't use it if the husband has passed away.
Exactly.
At the time, he still put in that time. He should be able to take care of his family.
Yeah.
He's gone, right?
Typically, what people do is my situation. Their situation was screwed up. They should, if they're married, they should use it immediately, right? And that's what typically happens. But if they're married and they rent still, what needs to happen is the person with the VA home loan certificate needs to pass it to the wife. He needs to have service connection disability, and he has to die because of that reason.
Can you break that down a little bit? You mentioned service connection disability. What is that?
Yeah, so typically when veterans serve, they're entitled to disability compensation if they get hurt on duty. Or if you're in the reserves, you get a line of duty. You're hurt when you're serving an inactive duty training. Basically, if you're on duty and you're hurt or a serious injury happens, then you can file for, your claim for disability compensation. And there's a lot of entitled benefits. Like 100% disabled veterans, dude, they fucking don't pay property tax. Yeah. They get exempt from funding fees for VA home loans. They have, they get all fishing all the permits that you could ever pay for. Fishing, hunting, all that's waived. Student loans get forgiven. Total, permanent. Student loans just go away.
So you joined after you had already gone to college. Were yours forgiven?
I'm not 100% service connected yet, so not yet, but they will be.
So this is another knock on sometimes the military, and I don't see it this way, but this is kind of the noise I hear. Right? It's like sometimes we don't take care of our own, like veterans. You see a lot of homeless.
Yeah. Where a lot of them don't want to speak up. I think it's because a lot of them are so prideful that they're in the service. You're trained to be tough. You're trained to not say a freaking peep until the mission's complete and you're done, right? And that happens. That when you're on deployment, that happens. You don't say anything, right? But the key is like when you are hurt physically, emotionally, you gotta go get seen for that, and it has to be in your service records.
Because that contract's over eventually, right? Like, life still has to go on.
Yeah, exactly. And when it ends, and you didn't say anything, and it's not in your record anywhere, well, guess what? I guess it didn't happen. So the key is, like, when you're hurt, actually go get seen or document that.
Do you think that culture is kind of changing, where when you do speak up, no one?
It is, because after deployments, they'll brief you now on, okay, well, if you're hurt, you need to say it, and say it in your post-deployment health assessment. Say it. And once you say it enough times, they're like, oh, this guy's, he's got this.
Do you think maybe, I feel like the old guard is kind of leaving, and, younger generation, your generation's coming in, more receptive to new ideas, and just, I guess, I don't know if sensitive is the right word, but,
They're changing quite a bit. Not only with, like, your sexuality and these military sexual things that are happening.
That's a whole other.
You can use both bathrooms, but also, like, if you're hurt, go get seen. Like they let you. It's getting better, I think.
Anything else? You want to add to the? Is there anything, veterans that should know about purchasing a home that maybe they're not privy to, that they could come to you for advice? Like, what are some advice you would give them right now in this climate?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, historically, prices are inflating and interest rates are low. So if you're already in a home, it's good because prices are going up. And I personally think that, we're in Sacramento, right? And a lot of the Bay Area money, this is like the valley right here. This Bay Area money over here, it's coming in, and it's coming in quick. And these offers and shit are making home prices just incredibly, like, this home right here, this 3-bedroom 2-bath will probably be maybe a $700,000
4-bedroom 2-bath. Thank you, Pearson.
Okay, yeah. $750,000 home. My home, I'm across the thing here. It's same thing. 750, maybe 800,000, and it's like I bought my house for $270. That's just insane. Yeah, it's an insane. It doesn't even make sense, to be honest with you, but. For a lot of these people out here who haven't bought yet, it's a good time, especially if you're a veteran, because you're not going to have any closing costs.
But there's a caveat to that, right? Because a lot of these VA home loans, you top out at $400.
Depends on the county.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It depends on the county.
Okay,
so every county, so you can. It's different and it goes up every year. So if you're trying to buy a San Francisco home, that's going to be, depending on the county, a lot more, or Rockland, a lot more, Sacramento, not as much. And these are changing every year based on housing prices. So,
are you able to purchase more than one home under VA loan, or no?
Yeah, you can, as long as you...
At the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, you can. So, say you own this home with a VA loan, right? And maybe you've maxed out your limit, but say you pay this mortgage down $100,000. Well, that $100,000 frees up your limitation on the home loan, so you could go use that $100,000 on your next purchase.
So the bank is still like $400,000.
Exactly.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the bank is still, but you still got some entitlement here for your next purchase. So on your next purchase, it might be in a, you can only. So that's one side of the story, and then the other thing is like what a lot of people don't realize is, say you buy this home with a VA, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you can refinance this into an FHA, or pull cash out, however you want to do it, or get it as a rental property into a conventional or FHA, and then free up your whole entire VA limitation for your next purchase, and then move your family to make that your primary, and there's zero down.
Yeah.
You just free home basically, and then this is a rental property. Getting the cash flow, so somebody can live in here, give you positive cash flow, and that's under it, and they're just paying down your mortgage. And then you could refi that tax-free to go buy a bigger and better home, because your VA limit is only per area. So you can do the same thing for your second home. Rent that bad boy out. Say, okay, guys, we're moving again. Free home. Like, you could free home it as fast as you could free home it for the next homes. You could build a rental real estate portfolio.
Wow.
Quickly as possible.
How do you okay, so you have an accounting background.
Yeah.
So when did the interest in real estate come up?
Man, I've always been, that's another long story, but it's a good story.
Brother.
Yeah. It's a really good story, actually. When I went to college, I wanted to be in real estate, and I wanted to get a real estate career. And I had an uncle who got too far into my ear and said, you don't want to do real estate, you want to do taxes. And I listened to him. And that was one of the biggest mistakes that I've ever made, because he groomed me for this tax career, and I had even passed my real estate exam, it's a salesperson license, and looking back at it, I should have started, because I had friends that I went to college with who are uber successful right now.
Yeah.
And but I got to look at it in the frame of, I learned everything I could about accounting and taxes. It super helped me out. I started businesses off that. I help a lot of people with that. And it's only going to make my mortgage career progress faster and better, and more well-rounded.
Consultation, like in the accounting world too, for these veterans?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, tax consulting and stuff, even though I'm not licensed, but for the returns, I'll just refer them out to my trusted partners.
Yeah.
Get those tax returns squared away. If they own a business, we're going to depreciate everything versus expense them, so that those get added back for lending purposes. So, yeah, everything's strategic, but mostly for lending now.
So what company are you with right now? Is it your own or your...
Not yet. I want to start a company in the future called Veteran Wholesale Mortgage.
Okay. Not as creative as Battleraddle, I gotta give you that one.
Yeah, not as creative, but more money, so that's important.
I guess fuck creativity.
Yeah. No, right now I'm plugged into a great team here at Partners Mortgage, and I'm so thankful for them, to be honest with you. And they only hired me because they're already specializing in VA loans, but bringing me on is like a whole nother level to servicing the veteran and that type of client and the VA loan and process and everything. So yeah, they're really good to me. I'm really good to them. It's a great fit. And I love the people that
Where are you guys based out of?
Roseville. They got an office in Roseville, and well, right now we've been working from home because of COVID.
What's your future looking like the next year? Just work-wise and business-wise.
Just really focus on this mortgage career and helping as many veterans as I can. Bringing Battleraddle slow, and just doing the best that I can.
I'm actually very excited to see what you have coming, because just the thought of Battleraddle, I just thought it was just badass, and I've been watching it for a couple of years now. I just couldn't believe it wasn't, and it wasn't taken.
Yeah.
But I followed, I paid attention to the amount of effort you put in, because that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to go out to the people. You don't wait for them to come to you. Yeah. You go out there, put your name out there. It's insane, and a couple years ago, I was, a lot younger, a little bit more brash and cocky, so anytime you got a call or message from Pearson, you're like, fuck, he's gonna ask me to buy something. So that was the thought, but like, I mean, that's what I'm doing now with this podcast. So, I'm sure people look at my number like, oh, he wants me to come on the show. So we're kind of the same boat here, but, thank you for not, treating me like I may have treated you back in the day,
No.
But, I'm very excited to see where you go, and I hope, we're able to spread the word and get this out to as many people as, that you can help out. There's a lot of knowledge that can be dropped, even, 5-10 years ago, there was a lot of sense of humor, but there's a lot of just common sense and a lot of knowledge that you were dropping that maybe I wasn't picking up at the time. Mm-hmm. But, you had lived a life, so, you're able to pass it on. I'm glad you're able to put that into, full gear and really help out our brothers, man.
Yeah, I'm trying my best,
Because there's a lot of people that just tell you enough where you get to a certain point, but you don't surpass those people. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool, you're paving the way and just kind of using all your teachings from the past and, helping out the homies, man.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. It's nice to hear from somebody that I'm making progress,
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm paying attention, man. All these dips, all these, the exciting part isn't, the success sometimes. It's, the finishing line isn't always the exciting part. It's just, it's just the run is
Yeah, I call it the progress and the joy.
Yeah.
Because the end line, if you had it, you wouldn't be happy.
Yeah.
But man, getting there.
Yeah,
and then always extending it, that joy in that process, and knowing to be happy in those joys and processes. Like, believe it or not, like, even though I have all these personal issues and I had these bad things happen to me in my personal life, like, I'm legitimately mortgage thing and helping as many people as I can, and then getting the t-shirts out there to veterans and coming up with new designs and helping as many veterans as I possibly can in every capacity.
Well, I appreciate you for coming on, man. Hey, check out Battleraddle. Check out Michael Pearson over at Partners in Mortgage. I'll put the link and everything in the bio, man. I appreciate you coming on, brother.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah.
That's the show, man.